Well, what's the crack? How are you getting on? You're all very welcome to episode 107 of Buckshot. We're a little late. This is Saturday. Are we late? Who knows? Depends on how much enjoyment and back cataloguing you're doing and all the rest of it. You might be new to the whole affair. But today, anyway, is Saturday. What about? Suddenly we're on the Canadian network. It's the 13th of April, 2019. Nice sunny day outside. Yeah. We've gotten a bunch of new people on. A lot of people enjoyed the last couple of podcasts. It would seem we've gotten a lot of messages coming through from people enjoying the shit out of the show. So that's great. Keep it coming, because like I said, it's kind of like talking in a dark room by yourself. You don't really know who's listening until you tell us who's listening. So that has been much appreciated. Gigs tonight. Let me just have a look at the old calendar here for you. Tonight, if you're listening to this today, and on Saturday the 13th, I'll be in Revolution in Waterford. I haven't been back down in the Dacia in a long time, so kind of looking forward to that one, actually. I'm there tonight with Justine Stafford, friend of the show, Joe.ie, the meme queen herself. She's there with me tonight. So then next week, just to get you caught up, even though I'll be talking to you probably beforehand, I will be in... Where will I be? I'm going to be in Lavery's on Wednesday. Oh, I can't fucking wait. Lavery's Wednesday night. Wednesday the 17th. Cannot wait for that. You know I love a bit of fucking Lavery's. And then I'll be on Good Friday. The pubs are open on Good Friday, 19th. I'll be in the Goat Comedy Club. The Goat Comedy Club, yep. In Dublin. I'll be there. I think I'm there with a couple of the lads from Father Ted. Most likely friends of the show, I would imagine. So yeah, look at... For all other, if you want to see further down the line, have a look at tomomahony.com/gigs. I'll put the link in the description in the old show notes, as they say. What else? Thank you very much. New Patreon on board the day before or was it yesterday? Good on you, Rory. New chap. Jumped on board. Left a cool little message as to why he's enjoying the podcast. And of course, he'll get the full back catalogue of the Tom and Jerry show, which is up there exclusively for Patrons. And on Tuesdays, when I do the Ramble Pod, you get to watch it live. Only Patreons get that. You get the ad-free versions, and you're gonna get early releases as well. I am going to be doing more stuff for the Patreon page as well, along with that. So, because you gotta keep those people, gotta keep them sweet, wet their beak just a little bit. Also, some stuff has been sold through the T Republic shop this week. So let me know, whoever bought that. I want you to show me what you're doing with it. Even if it's somewhere rude, you're putting it. I think just a lash of stickers and so a hoodie went somewhere as well. So send me on the pictures. Be cool to see people and where you're wearing it and all the rest of it and what you're doing with it. Even if it is kind of weird, I don't mind. Right, that's that. So that's everything I have to say about the usual stuff. Right, today's guest, a powerful woman, great crack, Nikki Hayes, or is it really Nikki Hayes is her name? Emer O'Keefe is her real name, but Nikki Hayes just rolls off the tongue. Doesn't sound like a DJ. DJ Nikki Hayes. It just sounds good. We had a right good chat. We were in the beautiful surrounds, as always, of the Laughter Lounge. Thank you very much, Holly, for accommodating us. The traffic trying to get in through town was a complete fucking nightmare. But we had great crack chatting to Nikki. She does suffer from a thing called BPD, which is borderline personality disorder. I know nothing about the mental health, and it's a thing we should know more about, because it's like somebody busting a finger, or just suffering with a bad, it should be out in the open as much as that is looking after the head. But like that. I'm no doctor. Nikki would know far more, but even she goes, I'm no fucking doctor, Tom. So there was at no point where was there any level of preaching or whatever. It was just kind of a brief insight into what are the mechanisms to deal with such a, because it's a heavy disorder to deal with, but like she's fully functioning superstar DJ, so obviously she got that son of a bitch in a headlock, which is fantastic to hear. But also we talked about the usual things like dogs and how class they are, how she got started in pirate radio, and some of the sound people in superstar sound people she's met and interviewed, and some of the cunts, So without further ado, please sit back, enjoy the brilliant Nikki Hayes. Nikki Hayes, thank you very much.
Not at all. Thank you for having me. I'm all excited. First time ever in the Laughter Lounge. What's that all about?
Yeah, I know, but this is, and the amount of people that say, geez, I'd love to go into the Laughter Lounge now some of the nights. But Holly, once you meet Holly, she will give you tickets, like, so you should go, like.
It's happening whether I like it or not.
Come on one of the nights I'm on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can hear me just, curse in public, essentially, like, is what?
Just talking shite.
That's how I advertise me. It's just me cursing in public.
Sounds good.
To other adults. Yeah. Well, the podcast itself is probably therapy in its own right, just shouting at. Well, it's nobody in particular, because this is the weird thing about the internet, isn't it?
Yeah. You don't know who's there and if anybody is there in the first place, and like, how do you record it at the end of the day? Like, so.
Well, there is that element. Like, have you been tempted to do a podcast? Or do you have time?
I've been asked to do one before about mental health, because obviously that's kind of my background and stuff personally. But to be honest with you, I never got around to it. And then the book happened, and then it was kind of like, okay, will I go do it now? And I never did it. And then, to be honest with you, Blind Boy's doing such an absolutely brilliant job of it. Like, what's the point in going up against that? So no, it was never kind of something that I delved into.
But like, Nikki Hayes, it's such a great name, isn't it?
But it's not my real name.
No, it's not. Is it not your real name?
No.
Because I'd heard tell that it wasn't your real name, but it's a great name you picked. How did you end up with Nikki Hayes then?
Well, I started on pirate radio when I was 15, so I'm 25 years on radio next month.
No way.
So like a veteran at this stage. So we were all broadcasting illegally, so we had to have different names.
Okay.
And I was born Emer O'Keefe. So it's not very radio,
Yeah. Do you know, but like... Both are very Tipperary names.
Like
there
Nikki, you go.
Nikki Hayes.
Well, the Nikki Hayes it was Nikki first of all on the Pirates, and I didn't have any surname. And then I was listening to Colm Hayes on FM 104, and I was like, Nikki Hayes, yeah, that works, okay. So Louis Walsh has a kind of a piss take of us, and he says that I'm Colm Hayes' love child. So, some claim to have, but...
Because at first I was going, I wonder are they related? Cause, and then I went, no, somebody has told me that's not actually...
Yeah.
So do you like...
Well, everybody calls me Nikki.
Would it be weird now if somebody, hey, Emer, would you answer?
Well, I think it was revenue or the bank. That's what it is. Because to be honest, nobody calls me Emer anymore. The odd person does, but like even like my family and stuff would know to call me Nikki around certain people, and so I'd be kind of Nikki 90% of the time and Emer 10% of the time.
I couldn't, because people often ask me, is Tom O'Mahony is that your real name, like your stage name? I'm like, why would I pick Tom O'Mahony? It's actually a mouth, but British people can't pronounce my name. So it's like, why would I pick that? But I wondered about that. Now, what would I do now? I can't put that toothpaste back in the tube, as they say. Like, I have no idea. But obviously, Nikki.
Yeah, well, I was asked, like, when I started on 2FM, John Clark said to me, look, would you think about going as Emer now? And I was like, well, no, I'm after spending the last 10 years building up a profile. Like, why would I suddenly change and be, people say, who the hell is that? You know, so it just made sense to stick with it then. So
you went pirate radio.
Yeah.
What was the crack there? Was it a gang from school, or was it like...
No, I was doing transition year, and there was a local station in Dunleary.
Right.
I'm from Bray, and in Dunleary it was kind of our local pirate station, and they played all the dance music, and everybody was very cool and whatever. So I just wrote in for work experience and went in, did my work experience there with a friend of mine, Julie, and at the end of the week, your man turns around to us, the boss, and he said, come here girls, you wouldn't be free tomorrow, would you? There's a slot going. And we were like, happy days. We were terrible. Spent the whole time giggling, like really bad.
Is that recording? Is that in the archives?
No, thank
that'd be
God.
class to hear, wouldn't
Do you know what? If I found John Daly, who used to be the station manager, I'm sure he has it somewhere because he's an anorak. But oh my God, it was so bad. We were really, really
I'd love to hear that. Then. Just two young ones having the crack on the
just
radio.
having a laugh, literally fits of giggles, and we were like, I can't believe somebody's actually given us this time. 3 hours of it,
What?
So yeah, 3 hours. And they asked us to come back the following week, which is even worse.
Must have been all right.
I don't know now. I don't know. I remember it being pretty shocking, but back then, Jim Nugent from 104 was on. Mark Kavanagh was on. There was like some really good DJs. Mr. Spring was on DLR at the time, so it was like a good pirate station back then. So.
What's the risks of having a pirate station? Like, are the radio police going to show up? Or?
Yeah, pretty much.
There is radio police.
Yeah. It used to be the ODTR back in our day, and what would happen is they would turn up to the premises and they'd confiscate all your equipment. So it was pretty expensive to set it up.
No doubt.
Oh yeah. Like they would turn up. You were constantly dodging them. Like if they came in on your signal and they found out where you were and tracked where you were, they would come and confiscate your equipment. So you'd shut down, and then someone would get money, and you'd get more equipment, and you'd be back up a few days later. But these days it's the BAI, so the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland. So they, but I mean, you'll notice now pirates don't last on air very often because they're on air and then suddenly one of the, there's so many stations on the band at the moment that someone will go, here, you're bleeding into my station here, so straight away they'll be reported and they'll be off air. So you don't see them as much anymore.
I actually copped one the other night. I was driving through Dundrum and it was some lad. He was like, yo, welcome. And it was like, and it went on the it's always like, it's always phonetically written too. Like whatever, it's just beats, but it beats with a Z. Of course this has to be better than anything else.
DJ JL.
It's DJ JL. But so, and where did you go from there then?
Went from DLR to East Coast out in Wicklow. Yes. Been from Bray. So
up the road, sure.
Yeah, it was grand. So I was with them then for a couple of years. Then I went to Spin when they started out 15 years ago.
Right.
And then went from Spin to 2FM, back to Spin, and then to Classic Hits where I am now. So
lovely stuff.
Yeah.
And because radio is the maddest thing ever. Like it's one of the few jobs I've ever come across where quite literally the boss can show up and go, yeah, listen, it's all changing.
Yeah. And it happened to me. It happened to me when I was at RTE. The boss literally turned up on a Sunday and was like, by the way, the new schedule's out and you're not on it. And that was it. And it was like you have that moment where you're like, sorry, what? It's like unbelievable, but that's how quick it can go. It's a very fickle business.
Isn't
it really
it?
is. Yeah.
Because even it wasn't an official slot, but it was like Tom's Crazy Corner. They'd bring on just an angry bastard, me basically, on a Monday morning onto Breakfast Republic.
Oh yeah, cool.
And then just like that, it was over about 6 months, and then one Sunday it was just, listen, we're changing things up, Tom, thanks very much.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I couldn't argue. They'd paid me for everything, and it wasn't like I was working in there, but it was, speaking to other friends, it was just gone.
Yeah, that's it. And it really is. It's like, and also it can happen that a new person comes in and they just sweep the decks and move on with their own people. They want to put their stamp on things.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, you need a thick skin. And I remember my dad saying it to me when I got into radio. He was like, you'll want to grow a set if you're going to stay in this industry,
No doubt,
because, literally it is tough going. And I mean, if you're anyway precious or teary-eyed, you're not going to last too long. So you have to nearly... without being sexist, you need to be one of the boys, kind of. You need to roll with it.
Yeah,
so.
I'd imagine you have to be tough. Like because even like talking with, like I was saying, with friends. One particular friend I know, he's been on 4 different radio stations, just in the Greater Dublin area. Like.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to take a tack of notice to it. It's like, well, I'm just here now, and it's...
Well, the way we say it is we're still getting away with it. Do you know what I mean? 25 years next month and I'm still getting paid to do it. So
it is class, like,
getting away with it. So I can't really complain.
Radio, and I suppose the thing I like about radio is you could quite literally be doing it in your jocks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's all about it's all about your presentation game, really,
totally.
like, isn't it? Like, so,
and that's what I love about it. I love the fact that it's so anonymous, because like if you're walking down the street, people see you, they know who you are, you've been on TV, you're up doing stand-up shows, they know your face. People don't know your face when you're on radio. It's great. It's like, but then you could be talking one time and I might be with my friends and being a little bit louder, and you can see people kind of look at you and it's kind of like, why is this familiar? you know? But they can't place why, because they don't know your face. So, it's gas.
With me though, because people can't place me, because I'm such a culture outside of the things I've played on television, people go, did I go to school with your father? You know what I mean? Like, they don't fully know how they know me. Like, so it's...
I think that's the best though, when you see someone kind of look at you and you can see the confusion across their face and they don't know where it's coming from. But I love that part of radio, that people don't know who you are. Plus, like you said, you can literally go in your pajamas and nobody's going to have an absolute idea. Like we used to do on Halloween and stuff. We'd say, oh, and I'm dressed up today as Catwoman and all this. And like, you'd be just there in your tracksuit, like.
Just lying through your teeth.
Yeah, completely. No one had a notion. They'd be like, God, I say you look really sexy, do you?
I'm class right now.
So, I mean, radio's always been a preferred method of media for me, because of the way you can be quite anonymous and hide behind the microphone nearly.
I suppose so. It is changing a bit now when you see like what Off the Ball are doing. And you know what I mean, and even 2FM, I suppose, a bit now are filming their stuff as well. Like so, it is branching out people. But to people, because I mean, it's no good to you if you're driving your car. I suppose still you still need the hearing side of things. And,
Well, in Spin, when I was there a couple of years ago, they brought a thing on called Spin TV, and I think they still have it. But it used to freak me out, because it would just be me or whoever was on air sitting in studio with a camera, broadcasting it on the internet. But half the time in between songs, you're just sitting there. stare into space. Do you know what I mean? You're not actually doing anything. So I was like, who logs on and watches this?
I love the notion that like you're just such a professional to the game that you're just, as soon as the music comes on, boom, just shut down. Yeah. you're getting nothing else out of me. Like,
it's pretty much how it was. But yeah, like, I mean, it's freaky, but some people do watch it, you know, so like there's obviously some sort of market in it and they can run advertising and stuff.
I don't get the watching of it though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I don't myself. I just think it's a bit freaky. Like, well, I wouldn't want to watch you sit in a room and do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But people, there's kind of an almost creepy level of voyeurism to it. Like, isn't it going, go on, do something? You're not going to do anything. You're in front of the mic. Like,
she's going to scratch your nose. It's like, you know, it's that, I don't know. I never got it, but I think it is changing in the way you're saying that it's becoming more visual. Like, even to the point where we'd have our photographs taken for the web and stuff, and a lot of us would give out, because a lot of us in Classic Hits have been kind of on air for a while, a decade or two, and it's kind of like, why? You know, it's radio. But, you know, they want you to be someone that people can relate to. So they want you to be this person people feel they know. Rather than just the voice, you know. So,
well, that's, I suppose the likes of Dermot and Dave have to be blamed for that too. Like, because they put themselves out there. So, you know.
They're like your mate. So, yeah.
But, and then people do, stuff changes all the time. And I suppose radio's coming under pressure too with bollocks like me starting up podcasts. Stealing
pretty
people's...
much. Why am I here?
Keep your enemies close and all that. Like, I just wonder why you took to taking this so quickly. Like, you were like, I'd love to do it. Yeah, I'd love to do it.
I've got cyanide in my bag. But I mean, but there's always different audiences for stuff. There's some people who will just listen to podcasts and never listen to radio. And then there's some people who just swear by radio. They might work on their own, and they're a trucker, especially truckers. They're huge into radio. Cabby drivers, stuff like that, like where you're the only other person they talk to during the day or talks to them. So they feel that you're kind of at work with them.
Class. But and then, so how did you find time, because you're working how do you find time then? You're obviously a parent, and then you go and write a book.
I know.
Jesus, how do you...
God knows. I don't know. I put it down to the fact that I was temporarily insane. It kind of works for me. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm on my own with Farah, so I mean, that can be tough sometimes because it's a full-time job. Not to mind the fact that I'm working full-time as well. But the book kind of, it was weird. I was asked to write it, and I wrote 2 or 3 chapters of it, and the publishers came back to me and went, love it. So,
brilliant.
You know, we have a deadline for you. This was in November, by March. So I was thinking, March, grand, that's miles away, it'll be fine. So didn't write anything for ages and ages and ages. And then suddenly it was like, you know, February, and I was like, oh crap, I've got a book to write, and I had a deadline. So I kind of got most of it written in about 3.5 weeks, but I think it was the pressure of I had to have it done. It was like, you know, if you don't get this done, you're going to, you know, be
like
hit
Sunday
the
night when Glen Rowe comes on, you're like, I gotta finish, you gotta finish my homework.
Exactly, yeah. So, when it happened, it happened quite quickly, but it was just in the evenings and stuff like that, really, to be honest with you.
That's
you know?
some going.
Yeah. But I'm glad I wrote it, because it was tough writing it, but it was kind of therapeutic at the same time.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad I wrote it, but a lot of people say, you know, typical Irish, we're never happy. It's like, so when's your next one? It's here.
Of course, yeah.
Give me a break. Like, that was hard enough to get out in the first place. I did attempt to write a second one, and I'm halfway through it, but I understand what writer's block is. I don't know how people, you know, proper novelists can throw out books 2 and 3 times a year. Like, I really don't know.
I cannot wrap my head around it.
It's because it's tough going. It really is. It's one thing sitting here, us having the chat.
Yeah.
You know, but to actually sit down and do it, and then you have to format it, and you know, it's too much like school.
Yeah.
Really
that's the other side of it. Like, if the crack has gone out of it too, like, it's very difficult to do something that's no crack, like, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, when my writing, it translates immediately to me talking to people on a stage. So it's good crack.
Yeah.
But like, the idea of that, if I was ever writing it just to put it in, I can imagine, now, once it's finished, I can imagine that's, you know, it's such a relief, but kind of pride as well, like, because it's there forever. It's a book you've written. Like.
Yeah, well, it's cool in a way, because it's something I've done now. So it's kind of like, I've done that. Whether I do or don't write another one, it's done. And the one thing that actually...
You're an author.
Yeah, it's mad. I know. I was like that. And to be honest, like, that's like a bit of an April Fool's joke, I think. Like, when I hear it, it's like, no, I'm not. But I am. Yeah. But it's kind of like, recently I had a father contact me on Facebook, because I'd have people contact me a lot about it comes to mental health stuff.
Yeah.
They're not really sure what to be doing or where to be going. Now, I never say, you know, give them advice. I always kind of point them in the direction of pay at house or someone like that, because I'm not a professional. But I'd kind of give, here's what I think you should do, but go here, you know?
Which is a nice, well-rounded person does things like that.
Yeah.
But when you hear people go, I'll tell you what you have to do, and you're like, you're no way a professional. Like.
Especially with mental health. You don't want to be having that on your hands without a doubt. No. But a father sent me a message there recently. He said his 20-year-old daughter went into services and she was told that she had borderline personality disorder and was told to pick up a copy of my book by her psychiatrist.
Stop.
So I was like, okay, now that's a bit of an achievement, because if the psychiatrist is recommending it, I must have done something right, because they're going to pick holes in it, you know.
And did you invoice them straight away for that?
Yeah.
Gets that a bit of second thought into my head going, I like my ego likes that for a second, but did you just take credit an hour's payment for sending somebody my way? Like.
So that for me was cool, because it was kind of like I felt if the professionals are acknowledging it, it must be all right. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, who better to write it? You know what I mean? Like when it's and like was that what was the thinking of? Was it a publisher that approached you first and went, you need to be writing a book, like, because
someone came to me and said, you know, you need to write your story, because it had been coming out after I had the breakdown and stuff, you know, like I had come out publicly and a lot of people were getting in touch with me on social media and stuff like that. And I'd been on a special that TV3 did, now Virgin Media One, where they did a big series on mental health, and I was on that, which
I can remember that actually.
Yeah, really
I do.
got great feedback from it. Like there was one woman who said that she had dropped her kids off to school and she was about to end her life, and she put the TV on, and I came up on an interview, and she said when she heard me talk, she decided she wasn't going to go ahead and do it.
Stop.
And I was like, whoa, that's massive.
Yeah.
So when you're hearing that kind of feedback, and then someone says, you know, you should really write this, you kind of say, well, you know, it might make a difference. Yeah. So from that point of view, I'm really glad I did it, but it was tough work. It really was tough work.
Do you think it built to a crescendo? Because were you aware of it when you were a youngster that you had borderline, or did it build to a crescendo and you went, well, you know, when you had your breakdown, do you reckon, or was it all the time there?
Well, it was all the time there, but it was never diagnosed. So It was kind of like, it was, you know, you've got depression, you've got anxiety. You know, teenagers, you're a drama queen, you're this, you're that. Yeah. So it was always something, but they never really put anything on it. So I'd be treated for depression, and then I'd be okay for a couple of years, and then something else would happen, and then I'd be okay for a couple of years. So it was kind of like a roller coaster, and I was always like the black sheep of the family. It was like, oh God, what's she at now? You know, it was like there was always something. And it was only after I had Farah, my daughter, I had a mental breakdown. And after having the breakdown, things start getting bad. You know, Well, I just couldn't kind of cope with stuff. I had postnatal depression after having her. So that led to the breakdown. And it was only really when I'd been hospitalised. I was in for nearly 7 weeks. And when I was in hospital, they actually kind of sat down, got all my records from years ago and whatever, put it all together. And they were like, oh, you actually have this, you know, so they were able to kind of piece it all together. But that's the problem with borderline personality disorder, is the fact that it takes years to diagnose, because there's 9 different criteria that you have to meet in order to get the diagnosis. That's
a cruel irony, isn't it?
Yeah. So you literally have to go through all this. Now, they are getting better at kind of pre-diagnosing people.
Yeah.
But people of my age will only be getting their diagnosis in their 30s. So, it's like it's a long time to go with being mistreated for different things. So, I mean, in one way, when they said it to me, I was like, oh my God, I've got a personality disorder. What the hell? You think you're a man from Split? And you're like, you know, what's going on?
You might be really strong some days. You never know.
That'd be awesome. But then, like, when you sit down and you kind of go through what it means, I kind of went, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. That's me. So it was a relief then, you know.
Because I'd be pretty, like most Irish people, pretty ignorant to the notion of it. You know what I mean? Because I was watching a program in Argentina, apparently. They're phenomenally good with mental health.
Really?
Like, it's as normal going for a coffee is to pop to a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
It's just a really normal thing. Like, they're very, all their emotions are on the surface. Of course, being, you know, gorgeous Latino people as well, like, you know, it's easy enough to be, you know, because as Irish people, we hide stuff, don't we? Like,
totally.
I'm grand now, I'm grand.
Yeah.
When you maybe might be ready to bite the table, like with with fury or whatever. So what's the acronym you used first? Is it BPD.
Yeah, borderline personality disorder.
Because that one because I'm now and more I'm starting to learn, because friends have it and stuff. You have we all I suppose have touches of it. How do you deal with that moment? Like,
yeah. See, the thing with borderline personality disorder is it involves so many things. So there's 9 different criteria.
Right.
So you need to have at least 5 of them to be considered for the diagnosis. So you could have completely different criteria to what I have out of the 9. Now, out of the 9, I have 7. So I'm pretty high up on it. So I'm very much borderline personality disorder. That's clear and concise. But it would be like suffering with depression, suffering with anxiety, numerous self-harm or suicidal tendencies or, attempts. Also really bad self-esteem. Another one would be feeling very isolated, like you don't fit in anywhere, you're always kind of outside everything. Also having no self-worth, there's all these different things that add up to paranoia, that like if someone doesn't send a text back to you, instead of just going, oh, they're probably busy, you're like, oh my God, they hate me, they hate me, and all of a sudden you're sending a text back on, why do you hate me? It's overthinking everything. So, when I got the diagnosis and they explained it all to me, it was like, literally, it was like, oh my God, so okay, I'm not crazy. I actually have something here, because I was just thinking I'm just nuts, like completely nuts.
Yeah, but that's the easy way to say it, isn't it? Ah, sure, I'm just mad.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the reality is, geez, like, and you've that many factors to deal with, like.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you have coping mechanisms now where you're going, the engine is running too hot here now? We need to pull into the lay-by here for a second.
Completely. There's a thing called DBT, all the acronyms for it.
Yeah.
It's dialectal behavioural therapy. So, CBT.
Yeah.
So it's literally like a level below that again. So where CBT would teach you coping skills, DBT goes in and reprograms you, which is why it works really well for people with borderline personality disorder. So it's a 6-month course that you do.
Yeah.
And then you take a break for a couple of weeks and then you repeat that 6-month course again, like word for word.
Right.
So it's about literally, reprogramming how you think, how you act, how you react to things. Like there would be a certain coping mechanism, which was brilliant for me, that instead of when you're feeling under a lot of pressure and, you might have the urge to self-harm or to beat yourself up about something like that. Instead, what you do is you hold your breath and put your whole face to your ears in ice cold water. And whatever it is, the shock stops that thought process, so it stops you doing what you might have done. Such a simple thing, but it works same way as ice cubes on your wrists. Same thing, and it's teaching yourself how to react differently to things. Because
you're at the extreme level of it, but even as you're speaking, I'm going, man, I kick the shit out of myself all the time about things.
Well, the Irish people are the worst for it.
We probably,
literally, and especially in the public eye, especially.
Yeah, because you're always, there is no harm in self-criticism sometimes because it keeps you on a straight line and keeps you sharp.
Yeah.
But there's times when you're going, maybe, that I shouldn't be beating the living shit out of myself this much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know a psychiatrist said to me before, he was an English guy, and he said that since he came to Ireland, he said that Irish people, if they had a whip, would be black and blue for the amount of times we beat ourselves up about things.
Right.
Literally. So when he gave me that kind of image, I was like, it's true, because you're like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, and why'd you do this? And you're such a fucking gobshite. You're this, you're that. So like you're always at yourself about something. Yeah. So literally, if you had a whip and whipped yourself every single time, you'd be black and blue.
Because and what is the reasoning behind it?
I don't know.
Where we were a repressed nation for, I suppose we were for a long time. That stuff does pass down genetically. Like you meet people from the Philippines and they have no pride.
No,
they were only now, because I was watching a program on the boxer Manny Pacquiao, and he was the first shining light that basically people went, oh, we're all right.
Yeah.
You go, well, that's of course you're all right.
And we look at them, we're like amazing singers. They're unreal.
Amazing, but it's that, and I suppose the beer was always the easy one to turn to too, isn't it? What I mean?
And also, if you think back to your grandparents, as much as I loved my grandparents to bits, my grandfather would have been, when we were kids, stay out of the way. Don't be in the way now. You stay quiet there in the corner or whatever. You're always kind of an inconvenience up to a certain age. So, it's something we've probably just grown up with from a very young age. So I don't think the generation now are getting, I think our generation are being better parents, to kids, and I think we've got more resources and stuff that we can kind of be more open to nurturing their emotions and their feelings and stuff like that, where they won't feel so repressed.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I remember I was only talking about it the other night, because we're expecting our first child.
Oh, congrats!
And so I thank you very much. I have no idea what kind of a parent I'm going to be. Like, what kind of funny accent is a child going to have? I do all these things, but. People, it was at a wedding, and she was kind of a negative old lady. Like, she's going, God, raising a child in this day and age, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the healthiest time. Yeah, okay, there's some crazy things that we know about, but there was always crazy things going on. But I remember giving a talk at a school, my primary school, which was really country, quite literally a rural school. And I remember it being a dark, dank old place, and all the kids were just savages, you know. And I had this notion in my head that, because there was corporal punishment still. This is in the 90s, like, you know, they were still able to, well, I suppose it was in the 80s, but they were still beaten with sticks and stuff like that. And kids were going around, I suppose there's a misery to school. I walked into this place, it was like this Eden of well-rounded, lovely children. Like, these kids were like little adults. They were coming up shaking my hand. Yeah. Do you know? Yeah. You're like, what?
Well, my 5-year-old does politics.
Stop.
Yeah, like literally. She goes to Educate Together, which I just love their ethos and how, like, they're very inclusive in how they teach, and they do politics, they do all religions. So she'll celebrate Hindu festivals, Chinese ones, you know,
brilliant,
everything, as well as Easter and Christmas and everything. Yeah. So I love it. I mean, because she's such a rounded person, and she's 5, you know, and she'll say to me sometimes, "Oh, how'd you not know that?" You know, and I'm
really?
like, yeah, yeah. So like, they have just so much more open to them now. I just think they're going to be much more tolerable of stuff, and, you know, much more inclusive.
Like, and this is the thing, I remember this kid, I called to my sister's house, and it was her neighbour. She said, I can't remember what it was. She asked me to drop into the neighbour up the road. I went, yeah, no worries. And this little youngster came, and he can be no more than 5 or 6. Dirty face on him. But you know, a youngster looks like he's got the attitude of an adult. Yeah. He came stomping up the pad. He was in the middle of a job, building something down, and he was like, he said, "Do you want me to bring that in for you? I'm going in there as well." I went, "Great." And he went, "I'm Jack. Lovely to meet you." I'm like, "Okay, you're 5. This is when I was 5, I was running around just probably eating plants or something. You know? So it restored any faith I had. It was like, they're going to be grand.
Yeah, they're
going to be grand.
We were picking legs off Daddy Longlegs at
there
that
you
stage,
go.
you know what I mean? Yeah.
And this kid
chewing gum off the ground.
This lad was going into this. It wasn't even his house. He was going in to borrow a hammer. I'm in the middle of something down here. It was like, great stuff.
No, they're great, and I just think they're so much more resilient because of what they have available to them. So I think they will be okay. And you'll be grand as a parent. You wing it. Like, nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, that's what seems to be. Yeah. That's when people are honest about it. It seems to be nobody really knows.
No, they don't. I'll never forget. I ended up. I had this great idea in my head. I was going to have a natural birth. I was going to, pain free. I'll just have my feet massaged. Everything will be grand. Ended up in theatre for a section. I had no choice. Baby decided it was coming a different way. But I remember when they were stitching me up and whatever, they handed Farah to her dad, and he said that literally for about half an hour he was in a side room with a baby, and nobody came near him, and he was like, what do I do with her? Like, literally it's just a shock factor. And I remember coming around from the drugs and everything as well, and kind of going, oh my God, this is it. We're, there's no turning back now. And you just get on with it. You have to.
Yeah, you just have a new job now.
Yeah, that's it. And you just never will pee again in the same way. You never pee in private again. It's like, showers with the rocket tot beside you. It's like, literally your life is not your own anymore. And I don't know if you got pets at all.
We have a dog.
Yeah, I have 2 dogs, but I remember them looking at when we brought her home, looking at us as if to say, "Are you for real?"
That's the other thing, because we totally mothered this dog too much.
Yeah. Now
she's a funny dog. There's no doubt. She's a schnauzer.
Oh, lovely.
But just a funny dog. But at the same time, we've totally spoiled the dog. So, and it was a friend of ours was going, "You'd be grand. You had a dog. It's fine." It's kind of like the same thing, only you have to be a bit more careful. Like,
yeah, just like, a little.
But he says, if nothing, we ruined our dog as well. He says, but he says, if nothing, he says, you may have learned, if you've learned that much, you may be aware that not to ruin the child as well.
Yeah. Well, in a way, because they are like your first baby. My 2 were my first babies, without a doubt. But what you do is when you take the baby home, or before you take the baby home, get one of the baby grows from the hospital, bring it home, so the scent is there before the baby comes home. So when the baby comes home, he'll have a sniff and just go, oh, whatever. I know the smell, it's not a big deal. you know.
Okay.
So yeah,
Because we were like, we were going, God, you know the way they say if you're introducing a new dog, you have to bring it up the road and meet on the.
Yeah.
I was like, do we have to meet the dog in a park or with the new child or a petrol station or something with the baby? Just let them meet each other on the ground.
No, what we did is we took the baby grow home, and then when I came out of the hospital a couple of days later, just literally put the rocket top down. They went over, they sniffed her, kind of looked at each other, walked off, and then Sandy, the female, she was very kind of, she guarded her, she lay down beside her. Whereas Fred, he was like, can't eat her, don't want to know her. Like, that was it, you know. He wasn't bothered with her at all.
What kind of dogs have you got?
They're both Jack Russell Rescues.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so like they've a bit of everything in them. One is Jack Russell Cross Lurcher, and I don't know how it happened because his mother was a Jack Russell. So
fair play.
Yeah, I've literally no idea how that happened.
Fair play.
So somebody obviously intervened there along the way.
There's a little fella. He's belongs to a neighbour. And they just, Jack Russells make me just so happy when I see the you know, the ones with the tiny legs.
Yeah.
This fella comes in, he's all business like, but he waits at the door now in the morning for our one to come out.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know whose dog it is.
Oh, really?
No idea. He just comes through the fence from somewhere, and he just sits at the back door. But they make me so happy because they're just, and he's a pleasant little thing. He let you rub him too, like. But
they've such small dog syndrome though as well.
Oh
like,
yeah,
really
yeah.
I remember walking Fred through the Phoenix Park before, and the Garda horses were going by, and he started roar at them, and the horse kind of looked at him as if to say, "Shut up," you know what I mean? Like as if.
But that's the reality of it too. Yeah. Oh, our one has notions too. Like I went down to visit my cousins the other day. They're in Wicklow, and they have a Rhodesian Ridgeback.
Oh, what's that?
They're from they're originally from what was Rhodesia? I suppose in Zimbabwe. They're bred to protect cattle packs from lions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they're tough.
Like, but this fella's a complete gomless Egypt. Like,
yeah.
But again, he stands maybe that, you know, like 3 foot, 4 foot high. And the reason why they call it Ridgeback is they're tight-haired, but the hair on their spine grows in the opposite direction. It's weird. And it does look like their spine is sticking up, but it's not. It's just the fur is different. But they've got an extra knuckle. Do you know, like dogs that they've got little stubby fingers?
Yeah.
Well, this guy actually has an extra knuckle. His paws look like lion paws.
Oh.
So they actually can fight a lion.
That's mad.
But this one squares up to him, like.
Yeah.
And she's a fart of a thing, like. But she squares up and she thinks, yeah, I'll have some of that. Like, yeah.
They've no idea, like, yeah.
Well, I think he has no idea either. He's a bit, he's a bit in Egypt, like.
Yeah.
There's not a big lion issue in Wicklow at the minute, from what I've heard, like, you know.
I don't know. I'm from Bray. There's been a few.
I like Bray, though. I live just outside Bray. So
do you?
I like Bray.
Whereabouts are you?
Enniskerry.
Oh, yeah.
We're the parish of Enniskerry, but we're out in the sticks, like, you know.
Yeah. Enniskerry is posh, though. Like, we would have said that was a bit of a posh.
Oh, no, yeah. A lot of my neighbours are ridiculous. Like,
yeah,
do you know?
Yeah.
Like
we'd go to Periscourt for a day trip or something and be like, oh, God, it's awful posh up here in Enniskerry.
I know, but I just love annoying them, being such a redneck culture around the place. Like, I'll go over to a Vogue and get a coffee. Hello. Just annoying. I know I'm annoying them by being there, like, you know.
It's gorgeous there, though. Really
it's class. It is class. Now they know how to charge for a sandwich, like, but.
Oh, yeah. Well, though, I saw someone say today they paid $4 something for an Americano in town here. I was like, $4.20, I think.
$4.20 for a coffee?
An Americano.
A black coffee?
Yeah. I was like, go to McDonald's. It's like, literally, yeah.
Like, it would want to be some coffee.
It would. I mean, I'd want my name written in I don't know, in Latin or something on it.
Bring it home to me or something. Yeah. Like, but Dublin's lost the run of itself again.
Yeah.
Completely lost the run of itself again.
It's gone all hipster again on us.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Like I knew. Do you know when you're in a coffee shop and you're like, I've no business in here at all.
Yeah.
Because I don't have any, sleeve of tattoos. Do you know, I'm wearing the wrong trousers. My trousers are not tight enough. And it was yesterday. I was in town, and I was perfect. It was right up just off of Camden Street, and I to a point I went, I could order the coffee. Yeah, I'm going to order a coffee. But even we all looked around and looked at me and went, yeah. That fella looks like he should be hunting cows. Like, you know what I mean? But I suppose I'm easy with that now. And I think it probably into your later 30s, I'm finding, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, you do. You get this kind of peace, isn't it? Like, where it's like, I really don't care anymore.
I'm so at peace now with the fact that I'll never be fashionable.
Yeah,
like, you know, or do I have to chase fashion? No, I don't. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I did that, like, for years in spin. I used to, like, the girls were gorgeous, like models, like literally
Right.
they'd walk in and it was like something off a catwalk at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be looking at them going, oh Jesus, literally, because I'm always leggings, a top and boots kind of person. That's just me, and that's just the way I dress, and I couldn't be bothered one way or the other. But I always kind of went, I need to do more like that, and now I couldn't be bothered. If I get up and get dressed, it's a bonus. Like, that's it. It doesn't matter. Like, once I'm not going out in my pajamas, it's a good day.
Yeah. But I remember it was at Cormac and Danielle.
Oh yeah.
They had me, Cormac and I got friendly with the guys. And again, I think because I was just such a culture, basically, they wanted, once a week, they brought me in to do something that was absolutely not in my wheelhouse. Like, they pierced my ears one day.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Like, well, I let them. It was like, but they did my makeup another day. They got it done in Inglot.
Oh,
in Dundrum. And it was hilarious. Like, my skin all around my eyes got totally, I was allergic.
Oh God!
I was
no!
allergic. Oh, it closed in like I'd been in a fight.
Oh my God!
But I was terrifying though when they had the makeup on.
Yeah.
I was the scariest looking woman you've ever seen. Like, it was just not. It was not passing at all.
I know. And were you from the Dundrum studio that day? Was it?
Yes. Yeah.
Because I'd normally have been on after them, so
Right.
I would have seen you had you been back in base.
Christ,
so just as well.
But it was like but they even put up the picture of my eyes the next day and well, thank you very much, and they reposted like, Tom's eyes are so manly that even they can't. They spat out the makeup. Like.
Couldn't even get that.
But but one of the days they took me to postnatal Pilates.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was interesting. I actually kind of enjoyed it, but they made me do it in skinny jeans.
Oh God!
And I thought they were after giving me girls' jeans.
Yeah.
From one of the spinnies.
Yeah.
Because it belonged to one of the spinnies. They had the name stitched on it. Turns out, a man wears these things.
Yeah.
I don't know what sort of sparrow legs.
Yeah, the boys even were like models, like
they're unreal.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that place is like one of the most good-looking places you could ever work in. Like,
it's like
really
it's a jumping off point for good-looking people,
yeah,
isn't it?
Literally, it's like literally they just fall in the door. It's kind of like, and then for the rest of us, it's kind of like, oh geez, now we have a lot to kind of measure up against here. But yeah, like I can imagine them being in almost girl-like jeans without a doubt.
I had Gordon Hayden on as well.
Oh, he's such a pet,
isn't he? Like,
I love him.
Just
love
the
Gordon.
nicest fella ever, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just lovely. I know Gordy since I was in my teens. His uncle used to own the Latouche Hotel out in Greystones.
Oh, go away.
Yeah,
Right.
So I used to like go. That was my place to go to. Like we used to go out there all the time. So we used to think it was great that we hung around with his nephew, so you'd get in on the guest list and stuff like that. But I know him that far back, and you know what? He's just been a solid, lovely boy, like lovely bloke from then. I've never seen a bad thing in him ever. He's just a lovely, lovely guy.
He was great though. I managed to crack him in the podcast.
Did you?
Because he's normally so political.
Yeah.
Sorry, I suppose he's almost like a politician. How well-rounded he is, and when he speaks about everybody's lovely, but he started to crack.
Oh, did
when
he?
When it came to Tom Cruise and Will Smith, like he was like, "These two fuckers."
I can't imagine Gordon saying that.
Go on. And he's like, right. There was a bit of anonymity because we were on a podcast, and he was just after leaving Spin at the time too. So
oh no way! So it was like whatever.
Did you have any doses? Like, because I mean, I imagine, did you ever get cornered in a situation like interviewing somebody or whatever? You're going, oh Jesus.
Yeah, there's been a few. One, to be honest with you, who was one of the worst ones, like never really amounted to anything. I was doing a roadcaster outside Whelan's on Wexford Street.
Oh yeah,
and it was the launch of some festival. I can't even remember what it was. But do you remember Sandy Thom, who did I Wish I Was a Punk Rocker?
Yeah.
So she came onto the roadcaster, and I said, "Oh, and Sandy Thom, I pronounced the H."
Yeah.
And she was like, "It's Tom. Could you at least do your research properly?" And kind of stormed out, and like we had to nearly coax her to come back in and finish the interview. And I thought, gee, like I mean, she was nobody at that stage. She had one song out, and I just never remember, like, I never forget how rude she was. It was just like literally not a nice person at all. But then she didn't really amount to anything, so clearly she wasn't really that great with other people either. So
fuck you, Tom.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like I'll call you whatever I want. But apart from that, no, I've been actually really lucky. I mean, I've got to interview some really cool people. Like one of my absolute favourites I got to meet was Lionel Richie, who I have an obsession with.
You did not, did you?
I did. I told him I wanted to wrap him in a blanket and sing to him, and his security took him away from me. So literally I had this thing with him where I was like, oh my God, I love him so much, I want to wrap him in a blanket and sing to him. And I told him backstage at the Three Arena, and his security tapped him on the shoulder and said, Mr. Ritchie, it's time to go. So I was like, okay. So Aiken Promotions always used to take the piss out of me, and they'd be like, oh God, he'll be bringing in extra security next time you're around. But like, I mean,
but it's Lionel Richie. I totally get this.
Yeah.
He probably gets it too. Like,
you probably do. Like, he smiled.
I'm Lionel Richie, yeah.
He smiled, but he went as soon as they told him to.
Oh yeah. He's a smart man too. Like,
yeah. But no, I've interviewed some really, I've been blessed in that way that I've interviewed some of my absolute heroes.
Have you?
Yeah, like I've been so lucky. I got to interview Eminem before.
What was Eminem like?
So humble. Oh my God.
No way.
So humble. Such an unassuming guy. Like his entourage was mega. Like literally, you had to get through about 50 people to get to him. But when you had him for 5 minutes, and you didn't go a minute over that. But I had half an hour with his crew, D12.
Yeah.
They were hilarious. They spent the whole time sitting in the foyer of the Herbert Park Hotel, throwing crisps and pretzels in my hair. So I'm trying to interview them, and they're like, hey Nikki, and I'm like, oh my God. But actually, proof was there, and I brought my nephew along with me, who was only in his teens at the time, and he wrote a little rap for my nephew Brian, and he was shot dead 2 months later. So like that was pretty cool to have. And my nephew, of course, was like a superstar in his school. And he was like, Brian, you stay in school, the cool kids finish school and all this. So he was delighted with that.
Isn't that gas, like when you compare like what they have done, what Eminem have done, and you want Sandy Tom bluffing it, like.
Yeah. And it's gas, like, because you've got the likes of Westlife, who are just the nicest guys in the world, and they're back killing it again. You meet like such like not Aretha Franklin, Gloria Gaynor. I met her before, and she was an absolute lady, like a lovely, lovely woman. Angie Stone had the best aura I've ever come across in my life.
Great.
Really. Oh my God. She walked into the room, and if you just feel somebody when they walk in.
I know exactly, yeah.
Oh my God. I was just blown away by her. And I mean, it was around the time she had I Wish I Didn't Miss You Anymore. It was like, her big disco tune.
Yes.
And I was just like, this woman is phenomenal. I was kind of like, had to pull myself together nearly to finish the interview.
That's amazing.
And then Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance was cool as well. He was a really good interview, and I was kind of a bit smitten with him as well. So yeah, he was
hard
good.
Not to know. In
yeah,
fairness,
he's a good looking guy, like a really good looking guy.
But like, do you know what I mean? When you meet like there's some stunners.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're going, Jesus Christ, I can't even look directly at you. Like this. But then they turn out to be cool as hell.
Yeah.
I suppose you can build a perception too. Like I worked with Samantha Mumba.
Oh yeah.
And I knew nothing about Samantha Mumba other than that she had music and she was famous and all the rest. But then you start working, she is as blokey and as gas.
Yeah.
Pints drinking gas woman like.
Yeah.
You're like, so people can actually be sound.
They're just people at the end of the day. Yeah. I remember actually down at Witness, do you remember before Oxygen, interviewing Beth Ditto from Gossip, and she walked in and I was like, oh my God, like, huge. The nicest person in the world. She just plonked herself down beside me. She was wearing this kind of sequined top, and she spent her whole time, fluffing up the sequins and everything like that, and grabbing her boobs and stuff. And I was just like, just the most normal kind of, like you say, blokey kind of girl ever. She was great fun. So I don't know. I just think people forget that superstars are people too. Some of them are arseholes, but the majority of them aren't. So
because I remember Lauren O'Sullivan.
Oh yeah,
She got caught ratting on the phone to Russell Crowe one day.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
Like he rang back and go, "I've Russell Crowe on the phone for you there." Oh yeah, no bother. Oh, actual Russell Crowe. Yeah, hello. Actual Russell. Can you like?
I know you'd be like, "Sorry, are you joking?"
To be fair, she didn't go straight to the gladiator question, which I probably would have.
Yeah, me too. Probably. Yeah. To be honest, when it comes to the movie end of things, like, I mean, when I see Serena or Gordon in action, it's kind of like, my God, their knowledge is unreal. Really,
it's unbelievable, isn't it?
What they know about the actors. Like, I could tell you an actor is in such a film and such a film. Don't ask me to quote some of their quotes from the film or anything like that. I wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, capacity, like, and it's funny, like, 'cause there's times when I remember, and Gordon caught me rotten one day. Like, he rang me or he messaged me going, "Would you come on air for a minute? And I thought, obviously, you want to ring a comedian, you wanted to be silly, but he was in the wrong vein altogether. They were on a very serious, like, country versus Dublin divide. And is there, based on your accent, is there prejudices? And I wasn't listening to radio. I was walking around the shop.
Yeah.
And he caught me rotten, like, and I would come on and go, I know, sure, just gas being a big culture. And he was like, so tell me, Tom, have you noticed? I'm like, all right, we're on two different paths here altogether.
You're basically playing into the stereotype, like.
And he totally didn't want me.
Yeah. Oh, gas. But you can be so caught off sometimes, though, as well. Like, especially with live, you know, you're there and you just have to wing it.
Yeah. Like, is there times too when you're going, I want to have the crack with this situation.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not allowed to, like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So many times where, or you know, you guess, like, I always remember there was a girl who won this competition that we were doing in 2FM where she won her and 5 friends to go to the Benicassim Festival plus 10 grand. So it was an amazing prize. And I was like, oh my God, you've just won this, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, oh yeah, grand. And I kind of stopped for a minute. I went, oh my God. I said, I'd fucking love to win this prize. Yeah. And this is all on air. And then I went, oh shite. You know, so I was so far into it, I was like, oh my God. But like you have moments like that where you'd love to turn around and just go, do you know what, I'm taking that prize back, you're not having it, good luck to you.
Do the Pat Kenny on it.
Yeah, literally, you know. But there is sometimes where you're bound to, you know, you have to keep shut them and you really don't want to.
That's where I would struggle.
Yeah.
Is you know, it's being the level person you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I could be that level all the.
You get away with it because of what your nature
I
is.
suppose.
You know, so,
I suppose. I think they're expected, but it was funny the first couple of times I was in 2FM because you could see him outside the window going, "Oh Jesus, because he didn't know. Now I was skirted by that edge, all right, but I never swore. I don't think I ever swore on air. Like maybe I did, but it was nothing too serious. Nobody was freaking out or anything. But you could see him going, "This fella is too dangerous altogether to have on." But once I got through one or two, but that was my MO.
Yeah,
like to be as well rounded as you. And be able to deal with all sorts of people, like that misery guts ringing up or winning the prize.
Yeah. But then I suppose you have to think some people, when you know it goes to air, probably just get like as if someone was new going on stage. They probably just get stage fright. You don't know, like could just be shock.
People get
you know. You have to kind of think outside the box as well. Like just because they don't sound very excited doesn't mean they're not genuinely delighted. Like you know, you hear people on the Late Late Show and you've won 50 grand. All right, so Ryan. It's like, what?
Yeah, I suppose you want the perfect. Yeah, it's hard to get the perfect storm because people are waiting. When you see, I suppose people don't realize when people are on radio, it's normally like somebody outside the stage. Hi, is that Brendan? Yeah. So you're going to be on with, and then you can hear them. So you're like, oh Jesus, because the first few times I did, it was started with Cormac and Daniela, where they would ring me up with a situation. Our jeans getting too ridiculous situation. Tom, our jeans getting too tight. This is where we're at. And of course, I'd be the crazy man, you know, and I'd have to describe a crazy situation. Right now, I'm sitting on top of a bull and I've no shirt on. And I'm telling you know, this started to carry on. Like, But even then, I was breaking it the first few times. Like,
yeah. It's knowing you're going live as well. If someone said to you, do you know, we're recording this, and if we don't get it right the first time, sure, we'll do it again. You kind of go, oh, okay, that's grand. But when you know you're going on live, you're just like, oh. Even sometimes, like I would be, I did an interview with Pat Kenny there last year, and literally when he was chatting away, he was like, okay, Nikki, so, you know, we're ready to go. And 1, 2, and puts on his headphones, and in my head, I just took a big swallow and I went, oh my God. You know,
did you get nervous?
Yeah, because it was Pat Kenny interviewing me, you know, so it was like, it's a big deal.
Yeah, you know? I can see, Pat Kenny, all right.
Yeah.
We were talking before we started recording, we were on air. Interesting fact. Did you know Pat Kenny's father was the head zookeeper?
I did not.
Yep.
No.
In Dublin Zoo for years. Yeah.
And my friend Jerry is one of the zookeepers up there now.
Jerry's famous now, isn't he? Because of the zoo.
It was funny. I took Farah and my daughter.
Everybody loves Jerry. Like.
I took my daughter up about 2 years ago when she was 3, and she was like, "Mammy, it's the man off the telly." When we were chatting, so it was like, I was like, "Yeah, it's just Jerry, your grand." But she was like, in awe. I was like, "Oh, there's your man off the telly."
Well, you don't expect it, sure you don't, because it's such a well-made show too. You think
brilliant, yeah.
These people are nearly all actors, but when you actually see them, you know, walking past with a barrow of shite, you're going, oh. They actually do.
They're actually zookeepers.
Because I never believed that Steve Irwin was mucking out stables and whatnot. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he was like well, in the nicest way possible, a lunatic.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh my God! When you look back at some of the stuff he did, you're like, whoa. Like, have you seen the? Is it the Lion Whisper on YouTube?
I may have. I've seen a fella that messes around with lions. And
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
Well, it's the same guy because Sky started showing it as well. I mean, literally, when I was watching him, I was like, that guy is asking to be mauled. Like, it's gorgeous. And oh my God, I mean, getting up close and personal with lions, it must be the most amazing thing in the world. But when I look at him rolling around there with, like, you know, a pride, I'm kind of like, don't know about that now.
No, of all the things, like, they're still murderers.
Yeah,
These things are able to murder things with their face. Like,
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And with the click of a finger, you're not their friend anymore, you know, so.
I remember I was in Photo Wildlife Park. I was working, not for them, but it was a job that I was doing near there or whatever. And this guy was walking past with a leopard on a collar, like walking it like a dog. I went, is that a leopard? He goes, oh yeah, he's really old. He goes, but he allows me to walk him on the watch him collar. We've been friends for years. He goes, do you want to rub him? I went, do I want to rub a leopard? Of course. This is absolutely. But I went to rub him. Well, no. You come around and you come straight at him. If you come in the side, you may not have a hand when it goes.
God.
So even this leopard was years old. He'd had him for years. He was a rescue or whatever. Even still, he went, you never fully trust him.
No, they're wild animals at the end of the day. So it's like Steve Irwin was like a class of his own, really, at the end of the day. Like,
and then a stingray got him in the end.
Yeah.
How crap was that? If you're going to go, you want to go being eaten by a crocodile. You're the crocodile man, like.
Exactly, I know, yeah. Or, you know, what you call those big snakes that unhinge their jaws and swallow you whole.
Would you go that way, or would you want? Because that's slow. You know what I mean? Just slowly ingesting you. I'd have to just offer your head up to a bear or something like.
Yeah, because doesn't a crocodile play with you for a while?
They do, yeah.
Yeah, so see, I wouldn't be into that now at all. They suffocate you in the end. No, I'd like a lion just rip the head off me or something like that.
Yeah, you want to go, wouldn't you? Just go. Like a bear, one swipe could take your head clean off.
Happy days. Yeah, gone.
That's the way to go. But I remember we were it was around the same time we went to Photo Wildlife Park. And this is the thing people think animals are all sound. Yeah. You know what I mean? All the time. Like, and you're going, nah, look at these. Like a ringtail lemur, I was smoking at the time, just reached out of the tree and stole my cigarette straight out of my mouth. No, it was amazing to see him smoke that cigarette.
Yeah,
It's probably one of the greatest days of my life, in fact. But it was my last fag, and he knew. It was like he knew it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was just looking at me up. He didn't run away with the fag. He just sat up there holding it, taking that puff out of it.
Did you get photographs?
No, it was just one of the. There was a gang of us used to go when we were hungover.
Yeah.
When I lived in Cork at the time, we'd go hungover, and it would just brighten up our whole day.
Yeah.
Just to see animals leaping around the place. But moments like that were. But that was a straight up dickhead.
Yeah.
Do you know he stole?
Yeah. But like, I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, like animals, I've often said, even when it comes down to my own dogs, my dog Fred is a dickhead, and I've said it before.
Is he?
Oh, if he was a person, you'd hate him. He barks for no reason. If he can't eat you or mount you, he doesn't want to know you. So literally, I mean, pretty blokey as they come. But like, I mean, I've often said it, and friends of mine have said, you know, Fred's I love him to bits, but he's a dickhead. Like, he really is.
Your dog's a dickhead.
That is believe it or not, that is the acting title of my second book.
Is it?
Your Dog's a Dickhead.
That's a great. I'm buying that book. Like, if it's that is a great.
Yeah,
name.
that's the acting title of it. So, mind you, Crying Into the Saucepan was the acting title of the first book, and it ended up just sticking. So you never know.
That's a good one. Like, yeah, you're.
Because it's just all those times when you're sitting there and you've stuff going on, and you know you want to get work done or you want to do something, and you've just got that ruff, ruff, ruff in the background. It's just like, you know, you're like, shut up.
Yeah, and then but you are responsible for him, of course.
Yeah. And I love him to bits, but he is a dickhead.
Yeah, but this is the thing. And where did you end up getting them then? Were they rescues then?
Yeah, well, Fred I got as a rescue from a friend of mine. She rescued a Jack Russell that was pregnant, and he was the runt of the litter. Right. So enhances his dickheadness.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's got not just small dog, but small dog.
Yeah, he's got big issues going on.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So, yeah, he was one of the pups. And then I was living an hour away from Dublin at the time. So I went to the rescue centre, and I got another dog for company for him when I was at work.
It's not the one down in Wicklow, is it?
Yeah, in Rathangan, Ash.
Oh, right. No, it's the other one I was at only the other day, because there's one, it's heading for Ockram in Wicklow. The WSPCA, it's the Wicklow one.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in there because we went to him before, and we gave him, we were going to get a dog, but they had, like, in fairness, every dog that they had available at the time was all a bit mad. Yeah. They were like, well, this is Sparky over here. He will bite you. And you're kind of going, oh, Jesus. Well, you know, is there any pups on the go? Like, you know, or is there anyone that isn't mad? But the thing is, now that we have a dog, it's like, oh, we could probably take a mad one, all right. Like,
Yeah.
Natasha's just like, if like she wants to take that Jack Russell that caused her. Do you think we should just take him? Like, she's had me stop on the side of the road and she'll grab a dog.
Yeah,
Go,
yeah.
I think its owner says to abandon it. No, it's just a dog out. Like, she brought a lamb into the car one of the days. Like,
oh really?
We'll take the. I'm like, would you put the lamb down? It's like,
sounds like a woman after my own heart. I'd love that.
like, if she like, I'm just waiting for the day. Like, she's currently getting her driver's license, so she's learning at the minute. But once she gets her driver's license, we're doomed, because the house is going to just
be a Frisian in the back garden.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, it will just be wild. And look what I brought home today. What are you gonna do? Yeah, it'd be all right.
Petting zoo, you'd be grand.
Would you own a petting zoo? I think I would.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. I've often said that if I made my millions and I did well for myself, that I would have a little petting zoo, like, a little kind of farm for myself.
Nikki Hayes' petting zoo has a great sound to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I could totally deal with that. Like, I'd have a few lambs, a few chickens. You'd have to have an owl lamb or something in there, wouldn't you?
Alpacas are so popular nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'd have to have one of them.
Have you seen the whole field of them down by heading for just below exit 7, the Bray exit?
Yeah, no.
Just driving down there, I nearly crashed the car. 60 llamas looking
No
in over
way.
the ditch at me, because they've those big long legs.
You're like, where's the circus?
But it's just these llamas.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it
Or
yet.
alpacas or whatever they are.
Yeah,
they're
but
the really fluffy fellas. You know them
They're
fellas?
the alpacas, yeah.
Are they shearing them?
Apparently they're huge for like weddings and stuff now. Like that, you bring it along to your wedding.
Hold on, somebody mentioned
ceremony. Like
a lad. I was on another podcast called the WTS podcast, and one of the lads was asking about getting married and stuff, because they're about to get married. This one wedding venue. Their major selling point was that we've got 2 llamas or 2 alpacas.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do with them?
Well, like, some of them can be ring bearers and stuff like that as well. Or just you have your own little petting corner, or you just have them for selfies. I don't know. I just know they're hugely popular for weddings now. So a friend of mine, her daughter made her confirmation last year and asked could she have an alpaca at it, and she's like, you can in your, not a chance. But yeah, so it's a thing now to have them at your party.
Oh yeah. I was driving into, it's a spectacle worth seeing. I drove into, I think it was, what's the name of it? Is it Ash? It's Wicklow again.
Yeah, Ashford.
Ashford.
Yeah.
I was driving in there the other day, and there was a communion going on, and there was a couple of traveller children were getting married, and I've never seen it in real life. The level of epic.
Oh yeah.
Like,
that fashion states are unreal.
It's just this dress is just humongous on these 3 little girls. You're like, I get it. It's an enjoyable day or whatever. Like, but my good.
But as
God.
a girl, as a 7-year-old or 8-year-old girl or whatever, it is the dream. The dresses that they wear when you're that age, it's the dream.
Yeah.
But like, we have your mummy saying, you're not wearing that, and you're not having this, and you're not having that. But like, it's to be the ultimate princess for the day, like, and they do it. They do it.
Oh, there's no shyness there, like.
Yeah. It's amazing, like, amazing.
And in the school, see, this is the thing, we don't even know what school we're going to be sending the child to or anything like that. Well, I'm sure. See, this is the thing. I'm sure it was discussed at some stage, but it hasn't stayed in my head. So I'm sure there is a plan some which way.
Probably. I'd say she's enrolled or somewhere already.
Probably has, actually.
She or he, or do you know?
No, we are finding out next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because we'll be kind of, I suppose, traditionally in a lot of things, but for some reason it's like, I kind of. Did you find out?
No. Although it was ruined for me because about 2 weeks before I gave birth, she was being real kind of sluggish. She wasn't moving very much, so I went into the rotunda and they gave me a bottle of Lucozade and they said sit there for a little while or whatever.
That's it, or medicine. Like, there's some Lucozade.
And then the doctor came over and she was like rubbing the ultrasound over and she was like, "Oh, she's a bit sluggish, all right, isn't she?"
Damn it.
And then she goes, "Do you know what you're having?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "I can't really tell anyway." So I went back and I said to her dad, I was like, so I think it's a girl, But we only had girls' names, so it worked out perfect. But we pretended up until the last minute. We were in denial. So we were like, no, she didn't know. But when they obviously, pulled her out and said, oh, it's a girl, we were like,
of course it was. Yeah, of course it was. Well, that's the thing about the name, and we've given up telling anybody.
Yeah.
Because that's what we found out, that's the worst thing, because everybody knows somebody that they fell out with.
Yeah.
Was, oh, do you like that name you do? Oh, no, I'm just saying, if you like it, it's great.
Yeah.
But I worked with Gary one time, and it's like, oh, Jesus. We weren't going to call
It's so
him Gary.
true.
But every name.
You're going through the ABCD, whatever, and each time you're like, now I'm going to make up a name here because I actually don't have a Lauren that I fall in with, but say like a Lauren because you were just talking about one, and it's like, oh God, no, she used to have skirts up to her arse in school, and it's like, she was a bit of a what. So like straight away you have a story about everybody, and like you'd have no name at that stage. You'd never come up with a name.
I mean, Jesus, going through them like
it's hard. Do you know, a friend of mine was telling me though they're expecting at the moment, and there's some app that's like Tinder. So literally, you put it on your phone and get your missus to put it on her phone, and then when you both like a name, it matches. So it generates all the names, and if you both like the same name, it'll come up as a match.
Right.
So that's pretty good because then you're not having to laboriously sit there and go over the names or whatever you can do as you're fluting through town or whatever you're doing. So.
Yeah, for some reason, like when we're driving, she'll go, so what do you think? And it'll be these names, the most Downton Abbey sounding names you've ever heard. What do you think of Farquaad? Do you like that? Like, no. And even if I did like it, I know kids are nicer now than when I was young, but at the same time, there has to be an element of what it sounds like being shouted across a yard, doesn't
Farquaad
it?
O'Mahony.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like there's an element of relax with it.
Yeah. It's so hard. It really is. Like we had come down to a couple, like, and we were like, okay, it'll be one of these.
Yeah.
And one of them was Layla. And I really loved Layla. But I came outside the rotunda one day and there was a woman standing there and she was like, Layla, come here.
No.
And I just went, nope, that's it, gone now.
You ruined it, Mrs.
Yeah.
You ruined
so
it.
like, it's hard. And at the end of the day, you're giving this baby the name, they're stuck with it for life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, sure, you changed yours.
I changed mine. I kind of said, you name me this, screw you. But you know what the worst thing is? I was named Emer, but my dad's aunt who raised him, her name was Isabel. So they decided to call me Emer Isabel, but she was dying and she thought they had named me Isabel. So for the rest of her life, they pretended my name was Isabel. So I've always kind of had a bit of a thing with my name. So
Hold on. But then you were diagnosed. They did this to you.
They did. It started from birth. I was screwed. I never had a way out.
Now you have 3 names growing up.
Yeah. I know, and it's like literally, it's the identity crisis. Kind of is very easy to see now.
You're not going to like your man from Split with an old British lady all of a sudden.
Oh no, but Disney play her so well.
Oh my God,
unbelievable! Like really
like
good.
It's the tiny little things in his faces.
Yeah,
in his face
yeah.
you're seeing change. Like,
have you seen Glass yet?
Yes,
Really good as well. Yeah.
Like God, he's good.
He's brilliant,
God,
unbelievable.
he's good.
Like absolutely. If nobody has seen either of those movies, go sit down and watch them. They do take a bit of. It's not a movie that you can just sit down and let it pass by you. You need to kind of watch it. But they're brilliant.
Because at first we watched Unbreakable again just to catch it. Because the first time I watched it, I went, this isn't lighting my... But of course my brain was thinking, it's got to be like, Iron Man or something like, because he is a superhero. But then when you watch it again, it's like, oh, right, this is a lot more subtle. I like how subtle this actually is,
Yeah. No, it's great. Absolutely brilliant. Probably 2 of my favourite movies over the last couple of years. Definitely, they're great.
It's brilliant stuff. Do you know before we get thrown out, working title of the next book?
Yeah, My Dog's a Dickhead.
What an awesome name. So for anybody, do you know what? I'll put links to everything in and to the book as well. Because would you ever do an audiobook?
I've been asked to do an audiobook.
That'd be because you have the voice for it.
Yeah, I've been asked to do an audiobook for overseas from, like, obviously in English, though, not in different languages. So, yeah.
Imagine reading it in Japanese.
Yeah, I know. I'd have to learn it first. So, yeah, that is something that has been asked of me, and it's just a matter of getting around to it, to be honest.
Oh, geez, it's just another thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, we wait with bated breath. Nikki Hayes.
Thank you so
O'Keefe.
What do I call you?
Isabel. Sure, look it. Thank you very, very much for coming in. This has been
you.
brilliant.
Thank you.
My thanks again to Nikki. Fair play. That was absolutely brilliant. Love that. Like she said, her book is called Crying into the Saucepan. What a great name. Great name. And her new book, please bring out the new book. My dog is a dickhead. What a good. But all like that book is still currently available on Amazon and all the rest of it. Like I said, I'll put the link in the show notes of this to go ahead. But if you don't follow her, follow Nikki Hayes. She's active online and is good crack. So hopefully have her back on again. That was fantastic. So if this is your first time listening, please hit subscribe. If you are able to rate on whatever podcast app you're listening to, do go ahead and do that. If you want to follow me on any platforms, it's Tom O'Mahony Comedy. Just type that in, Tom O'Mahony Comedy, and that'll pretty much find me on everything. I expect, except for Chatty Snaps and Tom Bear O'Mahony on that. But I don't really use it all that much, but I will reply to you if you message me on it. Any long form stuff, just go through the website, tomomahony.com, go to the contact page, hit me up, and you'll find me. Alright, go on away, you lucky bastards, and enjoy the rest of the weekend.